Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles with Earl Purdy, and we're going to talk about guiltlessness and invulnerability. How do you get yourself to the point that you're invulnerable, that you really can't be hurt, that you don't lose your peace, and you are totally safe? Well, welcome to A Course in Miracles with Earl Purdy on Facebook Live. Here we go. Not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim. Circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Earl Purdy, and we're going to be in chapter 13, The Guiltless World, on page 237. Page 237 in the Foundation for Inner Peace version, section 1, Guiltlessness and Invulnerability, on page 237. Oh yeah. I'm not a victim of the North, I'm not a victim of the South, not a victim of anything except what comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Help me out now. Not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. Now remember, you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to welcome these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. Some of these ideas you may actively resist. Some of these ideas you are going to find hard to believe. You might find it startling. You may not want to believe some of the things that you hear in A Course in Miracles. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Oh yeah, all right. Woo, I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I want to welcome you, mighty companions. I'm Earl Purdy, and we're going to be doing A Course in Miracles. We're in the guiltless world, the innocent world. And the section that I'm covering on page 237 is guiltlessness and invulnerability. That there's a connection between getting in touch with your innocence and your not having any kind of pain or lack or upset or sickness of any kind. Now, I'm going to set this up. A Course in Miracles is not going to talk like what we have learned in the world. So if you're looking for the Course in Miracles to fit in with the thought system that the world teaches, you just as well turn this off right now. A Course in Miracles, it's for people who are willing to open their mind and think out of the box and think very differently from the way that we've been programmed to think. I want you to keep in mind that the world of fear and unrest that we're living in now, that is an effect. It is not a cause. It's the result of a way of thinking that is not true. And so the Course in Miracles, its goal is to give you another way of looking at things. But in order to get that new way of looking at things, the Course in Miracles says you must remember that you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas, you need not welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find quite startling. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. I do not analyze A Course in Miracles. I've been teaching A Course in Miracles for almost 40 years. I don't analyze The Course in Miracles. My focus is on us hearing what the Course in Miracles is saying and remembering what the Course in Miracles is saying and using the ideas that the Course in Miracles is saying. That's my goal. That's my purpose. I call myself the divine repetition teacher. And that's important. Course in Miracles students waste so much time trying to analyze the Course in Miracles, especially when you're brand new to the Course in Miracles. Because when you're brand new to the Course in Miracles, you're pretty much totally listening to it through your ego, which is your old way of thinking. But we're going to do this. Now listen very carefully. Earlier, I said that the Holy Spirit shares the goal of all good teachers. So what is the goal of all good teachers? What is the goal? You are a teacher. You are a demonstrator. So what is the goal of all good teachers? What is the goal of all good teachers? Let me get this straightened out here. What is the goal of all good teachers? What is the goal of all good teachers? Yeah. Now, the goal of all good teachers. What is the ultimate aim of a good teacher? The ultimate aim of a really good teacher is to make yourself unnecessary. A good teacher wants to make themselves unnecessary. My goal is to make myself unnecessary. That you are so in tune with the truth for yourself, that you understand it for yourself, that you understand it for yourself to the point that you wouldn't need any teacher. So my goal is to make myself unnecessary. The goal of the Holy Spirit, which is your inner teacher, love's teacher inside of you, is to make itself unnecessary. The Holy Spirit, God within you, your divine self, wants only to make itself unnecessary by teaching you everything that it knows. So the Holy Spirit only wants to make itself unnecessary. The Holy Spirit only wants to make itself unnecessary. Now, how does the Holy Spirit do this? Well, the Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, is going to share God's love for you. So the part of you that's the Holy Spirit wants to be the channel of the love from our Creator to us. So the Holy Spirit, the divine in you, the real you, the love in you, what does it want to do? It wants to remove all guilt from your mind. So love wants to remove all guilt from your mind. So anybody that loves you, anyone that's in a real relationship with you, that would be somebody who wants to remove all guilt from your mind so that you could remember God, what created you, in peace. Do you know that the Holy Spirit wants to remove all guilt from your mind? because it's when all guilt is removed from your mind that you can remember your Creator, God, in peace. The Course in Miracles also says that you have a lot of unconscious guilt, that you have guilt that you don't even know you have, that all pain and conflict and fear is coming from unconscious guilt. So if you feel any kind of pain, any kind of conflict, you have some unconscious guilt according to the Course in Miracles. So peace and guilt are antithetical. Do you know that peace is the direct opposite of guilt? Peace is the opposite of guilt. Being totally fulfilled is the opposite of guilt. So that means that the most important thing that you can possibly do is undo guilt. Don't do things that make you feel guilty. Those things may not really even be something that you should be feeling guilty about. But if you're making yourself feel guilty about something right now, stop it. Whatever you're making yourself feel guilty about is going to keep you from remembering peace. It's going to keep you from having peace. It's going to keep you from knowing your relationship to God. You will not know your relationship to God. You will not know your relationship to love. God is love if you are feeling guilty. So wherever you're feeling guilty, whatever you're doing that makes you feel guilty, stop it. Stop it. It's what causes lack. It's what causes sickness. It's what causes attack. It's guilt. Love and guilt cannot coexist. So what does that mean? That means guilt is not a part of love. That if you're really loving somebody, there's not a lot of guilt, attack, and anger in that relationship. If you're in a real relationship, there is not guilt, attack, and anger. The Course in Miracles says love and guilt cannot coexist. To accept guilt is to deny love. To accept love means you're going to deny guilt. So does that mean that guilt is what hides love or Christ from your sight? That is exactly what it means. If you wonder why you don't see the divine self, if you're wondering why you are not experiencing as much love and joy and peace as you'd like to experience in your life, guilt hides Christ, which is your loving self, from your sight. Because what guilt is the denial of your blamelessness. Guilt is you saying, I'm denying that I'm blameless right now. I'm denying that I'm innocent right now. I'm denying that I am blameless right now. I feel guilty. I feel guilty. So it's denying your blamelessness. So guilt is a denial of your blamelessness. What is guilt? It's a denial of your blamelessness. Do you know that I want to keep the Course in Miracles very simple? 40 years of teaching this and 30 years of doing it full time. Let me tell you, I've had a chance to teach a lot and learn a lot and work with many, many, many different Course in Miracles students literally all over the world. And you'll see some very obvious tricks that a person's mind will play on them when they're studying the Course. One of the biggest tricks that your mind can play on you as a Course in Miracles student is telling you that the Course in Miracles is complicated. It's not. It just told us that the Holy Spirit, the divine within you, God within you, wants to teach you everything it knows so that you don't even really need a teacher because you are aware of the truth and you're in connection with the truth yourself. Then we were told very simply that you're only going to remember God when you're not full of guilt and anger and attack and fear. You're only going to remember love and peace when you're not full of guilt and attack and anger and fear. And that it's guilt and anger that hides your real self from you. Now, in this strange world, I like this, the Course in Miracles says, in the strange world that you have made, you, the child of God, it looks like you've sinned. It's like you've done, sometimes in this world, it looks like you have created some type of crime that makes you feel guilty. In this world, of course, it looks like in this world that you have somehow done something bad. Sometimes you will tell yourself that you can't be forgiven for. So if you see the child of God is full of guilt and sin, the Course in Miracles says, well, how can you see the child of God? If the child of God is innocent and blameless in their truest self, Well, then if you're seeing something that's making you angry, if you're seeing something in the other person that makes you want to attack them, or in yourself that makes you want to attack yourself, it means you're not seeing yourself. If you see yourself as angry and guilty, and if you see other people around you as guilty and bad, the Course in Miracles is saying to you, how can you see the child of God if you are seeing somebody as being sinful or guilty? Because when you see a person as guilty, the Course in Miracles says you are making that person invisible. So when you make me invisible, you see me as separate, you see me as guilty, you see me as sinful in some way, or I see you as separate, or I see you as sinful, or I see you as guilty in some way. The Course says by making the child of God invisible, what happened? The world of retribution, the world of punishment rose in the black cloud of guilt that you accepted, the black cloud of guilt that you hold dear. I'm not going to see you as long as I see you as guilty. You're not going to see me as long as you see me as guilty. You're just going to see somebody that needs to be punished, somebody that needs to be attacked. For the blamelessness of Christ, the blamelessness of your true self is the proof that the ego never was and the ego can never be. The part of you that is guilty and the part of you that thinks you are guilty or bad or sinful in some way, the Course in Miracles says the fact that what you really are is innocent, the fact that what you really are is blameless, means your ego, your guilty thoughts, those ideas of yourself that you are less than holy, less than beautiful, can never be. So what is it that gives the ego, the part of us that thinks it's afraid and alone and self-sufficient and on its own and out here trying to make it and scared of everything? What is it that gives that part of you life? Well, what gives the part of you life that doesn't love you, what gives the part of you life that's afraid and upset, is guilt. It says it right here. Without guilt, the ego has no life without guilt. The ego has no life without guilt. Fear has no life without guilt. Fear has no life without guilt. Anger has no life without guilt. Lack has no life without guilt. Lack has no life without guilt. Your problems have no life without guilt. And guess what? You are God's son. You are God's creation. You are love's creation. So that means you are without guilt. 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 Now, I didn't say you may think you are completely without guilt. I didn't say you necessarily believe that other people are without guilt. That's not what I said. I said that the Course says you are without guilt, that you are innocent. Now, you can have guilty thoughts. You can even have guilty actions that you feel guilty about, but that doesn't make you guilty. Just because you think you are something doesn't necessarily make it true. I can call myself Bugs Bunny. That doesn't make me really be Bugs Bunny. And if I try to live my life as if I am Bugs Bunny, I'm going to have some problems. What's up, Doc? Know what I'm talking about? So the Course in Miracles is just telling you the truth about who you really are, whether you believe it or not. My purpose as a teacher of God is to be a messenger. And I'm here to deliver a message that I didn't write. And I'm here to deliver a message that I'm supposed to deliver to everyone that tunes in to this. I'm not here to defend the message any more than a postman is going to defend a letter that he delivers to you in your mailbox. As you look upon yourself and judge what you do honestly. So what do you need to do? You need to look at yourself and you need to judge what you do honestly. And if you judge what you do honestly, you may be tempted to wonder how you could possibly be guiltless. When you honestly look at how often you may get angry and how often you get upset and how often you may be tempted to attack, or how often you see yourself as in lack in some way, you may wonder how you could be innocent. You may be wondering how you could be innocent. You may be wondering how you could be guiltless when you think about the things that you've done in the past. Yet consider this. What is it that the Course in Miracles is saying to you? Consider this. You are not guiltless in time. Yeah, I know in the body, thinking that you're separate, thinking that thinking that you are a human being that's done many unkind things, you may not see yourself as guiltless in time. But the Course in Miracles is saying you are guiltless in eternity. You are guiltless in your reality. You may not be innocent in your mind. You may not even think you're innocent in the body. But the Course in Miracles is saying you are innocent in eternity. You are innocent in reality. You may think you have sinned in the past. You may think you've done something horrible in the past, but there is no past. There is no past. Are you aware that past means gone? Past means over. Past means gone. Future means not yet. The Course in Miracles says the future means not yet, and past means gone. So when you say, I did something in the past, you're saying, I did something in the gone. I want to make some money in the future. I want to make some money in the not yet. I want to know my innocence in the future. I want to know my innocence in the not yet. So future is not yet. Past is gone. Future is not yet. Past means gone. Future means not yet. Past means gone. Future means not yet. Past means gone. Future means not yet. So neither one of those exist. Neither one of those exist. Always doesn't have a direction. Something that happens always doesn't have a particular direction. Now, are you aware that time seems to go in one direction? Time looks like it goes from past, present to the future. But the Course in Miracles says that when you reach the end of time, time is going to roll up like a long carpet spread out along the past behind you. When you reach your true self, when you get in touch with your divine self, when you get in touch with your real self, when you get in touch with your totally innocent self, the Course in Miracles says time will roll up like a carpet behind you and time will disappear. Time will disappear because you're no longer thinking of yourself as being in the past or the future. Time will disappear because you are 100% totally in the right now, recognizing that you are loved by your Creator and that you are innocent right now. And sometimes you can make errors in perception, and sometimes you can make mistakes, but as an innocent child of God, you know that you are still sinless and guiltless, but that you made some errors, and that the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, will correct you and will heal you. If you're continually having challenges and problems and drama and upset, it's because you are dependent on yourself. You're still trusting in yourself more than you're trusting in your Creator. Now, you may think you are practicing the truth, but if you're not getting the results, you are not truly applying it consistently yet. But you should be gentle with yourself and acknowledge yourself for whatever you are able to do right now that moves you toward the truth. The Course in Miracles says, I love it. He says, as long as you believe the Son of God is guilty, you will walk along this carpet of time, believing it leads to death. So the Course in Miracles is saying what? As long as you think you're guilty, you're going to think you're going to die one day. A person that thinks that they're guilty and separate from God is a person that thinks they're going to die one day. If you think you're going to die one day, the Course in Miracles says you don't know who you are yet, and there's a part of you that still thinks that some part of you is guilty. So that's how you can tell if you have not released your hidden guilt yet. Is that you still believe that you are just a body human being that's going to die one day. Now, I am aware, aren't you aware that your body is going to be laid down one day? Yeah, your body is going to be laid down one day. You may call it death, but it's just laying down your body one day. But you are a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being. You are spirit. You are spirit. You are spirit, 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 spirit. You are spirit, 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 spirit. You are spirit, 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 spirit. You are a spirit, 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 spirit. You are not a body, you are free. You are not a body, you are free. You are not a body, you are free. You are spirit. You're not a body, you are spirit. That's why I say I'm the divine repetition teacher, because it's like hammering a nail into a plank. You don't hit that nail one time and it goes all the way in. It takes repetition to change your mind. You have to repeat the truth over and over and over and over and over to yourself. You have to remind yourself of the truth over and over and over and over until you accept it as true. It's not going to happen from being lazy, saying the truth every now and then spending the rest of the time wanting to be right more than wanting to be happy. You're not going to change your mind by fighting these ideas. You're not going to recognize your innocence by fighting against the idea that you are innocent. You're not going to get in touch with your eternal self by fighting against the idea that you are more than a body. The Course in Miracles says, the journey will seem long and cruel and senseless. When you believe you're guilty, it'll look like a lot of times your life is long and cruel and senseless. But you know what? Your life is long and cruel and senseless if you see yourself as guilty and sinful and separate. If you believe that you are born just to die one day, then it really doesn't really make any sense why you're here in the first place. So the Course in Miracles that you have says that you have set yourself on a journey. And the Course in Miracles says you have set yourself on a journey that is useless. That if you are in fear and pain and separation and lack and anger, the Course in Miracles says, by the way, you're on a useless journey. If you are full of guilt and anger and fear, then you have set yourself on a useless journey. And you want to let go of the useless journey. That's what the ego that thinks just say the ego is the part of my mind that believes in guilt. Just tell yourself the ego is the part of my mind that thinks I'm separate from love and God. The ego is a part of your mind. The ego is a thought. 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 Did you hear what I said? The ego is a thought. It's a fearful thought. It's an angry thought. The ego is a guilty thought. The ego is a thought. The ego is a thought. Listen to that. The ego is a thought. The ego is a thought. The Course in Miracles says that we've set ourselves on a useless journey, but there's a journey that God, your creator, is setting you on. There's a journey that love sets you on. And the journey that love and truth sets you on is a journey of release and joy. The fear in you, the part of you, the fear in your mind, the ego in your mind, it sets you on a useless journey. But the love in your mind, the truth in your mind, it sets you on a journey of release and joy. Your Father isn't cruel. Your Creator isn't cruel. God isn't cruel. Love isn't cruel. There's no cruelty in love. There's no cruelty in God. There's no cruelty in you. There's no cruelty in your true self. Now, your false self, that false self, it can be cruel, it can be angry, it can be jealous, it can be lacking. That cruel part of the mind, that joker is no good, but that's not what you are. Those are just thoughts in your mind that you're letting direct your actions. If you let your ego, which is your fear and guilt, direct your actions, it's going to set you on a useless journey, a journey that doesn't bring you anything but misery and despair. So how can you tell if you're listening to the voice in your head that you made up? You're unhappy right now. You're afraid right now. You are sad right now about something. Now listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. The Father is not cruel, and you cannot hurt yourself. You cannot hurt yourself. Your real self is spiritual. Your real self is divine. Your real self is beyond the body. Your real self is beyond the body. Your real self is beyond the body. So your real self can't be hurt. The retaliation that you may fear, do you know that some people feel like God is going to punish them? A Course in Miracles says the retaliation that you may fear and that you see will never touch you. Although you believe in retaliation, even though you may believe in punishment, the Course in Miracles says, although you may believe you deserve punishment, although you may believe that you are guilty, although you may have some beliefs in your inadequacy and unworthiness, love knows it's not true. The Holy Spirit knows it's not true. Your guide, your teacher, your divine self knows that your guilt is not true. You are not you are not sinful and guilty. So the Holy Spirit, which is the love in you, the Course in Miracles is only talking about love and fear. The Course in Miracles says we have only two emotions, love and fear. That everything in the world, everything you're experiencing is either some form of love or some form of fear. You're either experiencing some form of love or some form of fear right now. You're either experiencing some form of what? Love, or some form of what? Fear. You can call it guilt, you can call it anger, you can call it joy, you can call it fun, you can call it sickness, but you're only experiencing some form of love or some form of fear. And so the Holy Spirit is love. The ego is fear. So another word for ego is fear, the fearful mind, the fearful thoughts. Another term for the Holy Spirit is love, the loving mind, loving thoughts. Okay? So the Course in Miracles says, the Holy Spirit stands at the end of time, where you must be, where you must be, where you must be, because love is with you. Love stands at the end of time, where you must be, because love is with you. 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 The Holy Spirit has already undone everything that's unworthy of you. Your Creator has already undone everything that you may be doing to yourself to hurt yourself or to attempt to hurt yourself. The Course in Miracles says the Holy Spirit has already undone everything unworthy of the Son of God. For such was the Holy Spirit's mission, given the Holy Spirit by God. So there is a part of God that has been assigned to you to undo everything that's unworthy of you. Do you know that you are not alone? Do you know that you are not alone? You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You have God with you. You have the Holy Spirit with you. You have love with you. That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth. And what God gives has always been. God has always given you love, and you will always receive love. Your job is to work with the Holy Spirit, your inner teacher, and to study A Course in Miracles. If that's your path, the Course in Miracles will help you undo all of the anger, guilt, and grievances inside your mind. But it is not going to happen if you don't study the doggone material. It's not going to happen if you don't do the workbook and you don't read the text. You know what I'm saying? If you say you're a Course in Miracles student and you want to use the path of the Course in Miracles and you are not studying the friggin' book and doing the exercises, how can you get the state of mind that the Course in Miracles is promising? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So if you're one of these people that say you're a Course in Miracles student and you never pick the friggin' book up and you don't do your workbook lessons and you don't study, then don't expect to get the result of peace and harmony that the Course in Miracles is promising you. It doesn't mean that God is punishing you. It doesn't mean that life is punishing you. It means you are being lazy. And you're not really believing that you're worth the consistent effort that it would take to focus in on a thought system that would remove all of your pain and all of your guilt. And you are innocent. You're still just as cute and crazy as ever. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. How are you going to actually get the results that A Course in Miracles is teaching if you never study it, right? And the Course in Miracles is just one spiritual path. There are many paths to God. There are many paths to God. There are many paths to peace. There are many paths to love. So I'm talking to those of you who find yourselves being drawn to A Course in Miracles. Okay? That's who I'm primarily talking to. Even though anybody could benefit from the teachings of the Course, because if it's the truth, then it would benefit anybody. But I want you to hear what love would do. Love is going to undo everything that's unworthy of yourself that you tried to do to yourself. Love is going to always love. Somebody that loves you will never stop loving you. Somebody that loves you will never stop loving you. Somebody that loves you will never stop loving you. So love will never stop. What can change was never love. If it could change, it wasn't love in the first place. If it can change, it wasn't love. It was just specialness. You all were just treating each other special for a while because you were acting out each other's scripts. And so you were being kind to each other because you were keeping the bargain. But the minute the person doesn't keep the bargain, then you take your love back and they take their love back and then they go look for somebody else to give their phony love to. But the Course in Miracles is talking about the real deal. And the real love is permanent. Real love is permanent. Real love only expands. Real love is forgiving. And that's what I want. And that's what the Course in Miracles is promising us. And so it says in chapter 13, section 1, paragraph 5, it says, you will see me as you learn to see the Son of God is guiltless. The Course in Miracles says, you will learn to see Jesus. You will learn to see love. You will learn to see truth. You will learn to see the loving beings as you learn that you are guiltless, as you learn that you are innocent. It also means you will see me as you learn that I am guiltless. I will see you as you learn that you are guiltless, and I learn that I'm guiltless. As you learn that you're innocent, and I learn that I'm innocent, I will see the innocent you, and you will see the innocent me. But if you're looking at me with anger, hate, grievances, you're not seeing me. I am love, and you are love. And if we're seeing anything but that, we're not seeing each other. Right now in the world, we're not seeing each other. We're not recognizing each other. There's a lot of guilt and attack and blame being thrown back and forth in the world right now, which means that there are just a bunch of people who are not seeing each other correctly right now. Now, the truth is, you've always sought your innocence, your guiltlessness, and finally you found it. You wanted to find your innocence. You wanted to find your power. You wanted to find your beauty, and you found it. Everybody is seeking to escape. What is everyone seeking to escape from? Everyone is seeking to escape from the prison that they've made. Everyone is seeking to escape from the fear they've made, the lack they've made, the anger they've made, the separation and unhappiness that they've made. And a way to find your release has not been denied you. You wanted to release all the things that cause you pain. And do you know the Course in Miracles says that the way to find release is not denied you. The way to your happiness, the way to your release, do you know where it is? The way to your happiness, the way to your release, it's in you. That's why you found it. Because everything that you are looking for is inside yourself. The happiness that you're looking for is inside yourself. The abundance that you're looking for is inside yourself. The loving relationship that you're searching for is inside yourself. It's inside yourself. What you're looking for is not in somebody else. What you're looking for is not in somebody else. What you're looking for is not in somebody else. What you're looking for is not in somebody else. The happiness that you're looking for is not in anything or anybody but you. You. Everything that you're looking for, the truth that you're looking for, the peace that you're looking for is inside you. It's not outside you. It's inside you. It's inside you. It's not in that person. It's not in that thing. It's not in that circumstance. It's not in that place. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me? Do you hear me now? Do you hear me? Do you hear me now? When you find the way out, when you find your joy, when is it? When you find your joy, it's only a matter of time. When you find your joy and your release, it's only a matter of time. You're going to find your joy. It's only a matter of time. You're going to find your abundance, and it is only a matter of time. A matter of time. But time is what? Time is but an illusion. Time is an illusion. It's a false idea. For the child of God is guiltless now. The child of God is guiltless now. So I am guiltless now. Say that to yourself right now. I am guiltless 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 now. You are 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 guiltless now. You're innocent now. You're guiltless now. You're innocent now. You're guiltless now. You're innocent now. You. The brightness of your purity shines untouched. The brightness of your purity shines untouched. The brightness of your innocence shines untouched. The brightness of your brightness, brightness. The brightness of your innocence shines untouched. Forever in God's mind. Forever in your Creator's mind. Your innocence shines forever in your Creator's mind. Your innocence shines forever in your Creator's mind. You will always be as you were created. And you were created guiltless. You were created bright in your purity. You were created loved. You need to hear some good stuff about yourself. You need to hear the truth about yourself. You tune into Earl Purdy, you're going to be listening to somebody who's going to be talking about your innocence, your beauty, your truth, your power. That is what I'm going to talk about. If you're looking for somebody to put you down, judge you, see you as guilty and sinful, then don't pay attention to me. I will not do it. I will not be another teacher that's teaching you anything other than your perfection and that you deserve love, because that's what the Course in Miracles teaches. I am learning it because I want to teach it. I'm teaching what I want to learn. Now listen, deny your world and don't judge yourself. Deny the world of fear and don't judge yourself. Deny the world of fear and ego and don't judge yourself, because your internal guiltlessness is in the mind of your Father. Your eternal innocence is in the mind of your Creator, and your innocence, the eternal innocence that's in the mind of your Creator, it protects you forever. What you are is consciousness. You are mind. You are spirit. Your only problem is that you've forgotten who you really are. You've forgotten who you really are. When you've forgotten what you really are. You've forgotten who you really are. You've forgotten who you really are. You've forgotten who you really are. You have amnesia. You have amnesia. You have amnesia. You have amnesia. You have forgotten who you really are, what you really are. The Course in Miracles teaches that. You are mind, spirit, consciousness. You are mind, spirit, consciousness, and love. You are mind, spirit, consciousness, and love. You are mind, spirit, consciousness, and love. That's what you are. You are not this flesh. This is your communication device. This is your communication device. It is not what you are. You are more than a male body and more than a female physical body and a male physical body or a female physical body. You are more than that. You are more than that. Now, what is your ego? Your ego is the part of yourself that has learned that you are this separate body. Your ego is the part of you that thinks you're just a human being that's out here trying to survive and trying to make it against a bunch of other people who seem like they're your enemies in an opposition to you in some way. That is the ego. That is the fearful thought. That is what's not true. So how do you get out of this dilemma? You let love teach you. You let the Holy Spirit teach you. You let your inner teacher, the divine, teach you. You need to resign as your own teacher. And you will surely resign as your own teacher when you honestly look at the results of all the things you tried to create for yourself. And I will bet you money that if you are upset and unhappy, you have not created from the truth in you, from the love in you. You can tell what you think by the results. Look at the results. The results will tell you what the cause is. So if the results are fear, anger, guilt, grievances, and lack, it's being caused by the thoughts in your mind. It's being caused by the thoughts in your mind. It's being caused by the thoughts in your mind. And your Creator loves you forever. Your Creator loves you forever. Your Creator loves you forever. So if you want to move towards your truth, you need to recognize your guiltlessness. The Course in Miracles teaches you how to let go of the blocks of the guilt and the fear and the anger and the grievances. All right, I'm going to do a quick review, a quick recap of what I covered earlier in this section. I'm a full-time teacher. I love to do this. This is what I've done for 30 years. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, please go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy.com. And if you'd like to use some of the other payment services, my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. If you would like to have a personal clarity session with me so that I can show you how to apply this to any situation that you are going through, or to also help you navigate studying A Course in Miracles, I do clarity sessions. And the clarity sessions allow me to have a one-on-one with you. If you're interested, go to my website, look under the section called Clarity Session, and it explains the services that I provide. And if you're open to it and receptive to it, and if you're not, we don't have to use it. I'm also I'm an astrologer and numerologist, a sole purpose astrologer and numerologist. So that's also available to you if you're open to it, okay? So just go to my website. You can self-book an appointment with me right from the page. And please sign up for my contact list, okay? Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Facebook Live on the Earl Purdy page. You can watch Hardcore Course in Miracles at Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And you want to follow this page or like my Earl Purdy page on Facebook so that you can be notified whenever I go live. You want to make sure you do that. Okay? Then on Sundays at 1 p.m., we have this Course in Miracles presentation on Facebook Live at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. And you don't have to be a Facebook member in order to watch my live broadcast. And I also have tons of videos also on YouTube. If you Google me, you will find my classes. I also did all 365 workbook lessons on video on YouTube. All you have to do is Google Earl Purdy lesson 123 or whatever the lesson is. If you do that, if you Google that, it's going to come up and you will get a chance to see me doing the workbook lesson. All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And don't forget to share the video and to watch it at least 4 times. Okay? Don't forget. Don't forget. So what are the instructions? Well, if you're going to be a really good demonstrator, a good teacher, then you have to have the goal of making yourself unnecessary. When I counsel with people and work with people, I have no intention of that happening for years and years and years. My goal is to make myself unnecessary as quickly as possible, by teaching whoever works with me everything I can. So the Course in Miracles says the Holy Spirit is trying to make itself unnecessary. Love, your love teacher, your God is trying to, Holy Spirit wants to make itself unnecessary by teaching you all that the Holy Spirit knows. Then what else did the Course says? You can only remember God in peace. You'll never remember love in conflict. You have to give yourself peace. Get to the point that you have peace. Do you know that the goal of A Course in Miracles is to teach you how to have peace of mind? The Course in Miracles is not a book on how to manifest a car, house, special relationship, money, power, fame, physical pleasure. That is not the purpose of A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles is for someone who wants to have peace of mind, because when you have peace of mind, you can hear the voice for God, your inner guide within yourself. You have an inner guide. Your inner guide, your spiritual guide, is instructing you every minute of the day, but you can't hear your spiritual guide if you're listening to your anger, if you're listening to your fear, if you're listening to your guilt. Do you hear me now? Take your mind off of everybody else around you and how you can try to fix everybody else around you. Don't be focused on how you can get everybody around you to understand you or do your bidding. The Course in Miracles teaches that the one responsibility of the miracle worker, the one responsibility of the teacher, is to accept this for yourself. Don't worry about everybody else. It's about you accepting this for yourself if you want to have the easy path. The next thing that we heard today was that love and guilt can't coexist. So there's no such thing as I'm in love with somebody and all I feel is guilt when I'm with them. There's no such thing as I'm full of guilt in my relationship with you, but we have a real love with each other. Guilt is fear. Guilt is anger. So a relationship in which you are experiencing nothing but a lot of guilt is a relationship that what you have for that person and what that person may have for you is just a lot of guilt feelings. So love, according to the Course, and guilt can't coexist. Another instruction that we were given is for you to recognize that as you look at yourself, that without guilt, your ego can't live without guilt and conflict. The other thing we heard today was, as you look at yourself and judge yourself honestly, you might wonder how you could be possibly totally innocent. But you need to remember, you're not totally innocent in your perception in time, but you are totally innocent in your true nature in eternity. Do you know that you may think you've committed some type of atrocity or sin or guilt in the past, but the past doesn't exist right now? And as long as you believe that you're guilty, as long as you keep attacking yourself, judging yourself, attacking others, judging others, the Course in Miracles tells us that we're going to believe that we're walking along the carpet of time that leads to our death at one day. And you don't want to continue to believe that you're just this limited human being that will die one day. But if you think that you're guilty, if you believe that you're unworthy, if you buy into the world and what the world teaches, it will look like your life is a journey that is long and cruel and senseless. And that's the journey that your ego set you on. That's the journey that the teachings of the world set you on, the fearful journey. But there's another journey. Do you know there's another journey? There's another journey. 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 There's a journey that love is setting you on. There's a journey that your Creator is setting you on. Do you know that it is a journey of release and joy? Because your Father isn't cruel. Love isn't cruel. Your Creator isn't cruel. And who you really are, you can't hurt who you really are. You can't hurt who you really are. And your Creator is not going to punish you for what you've done in the past. Your Creator is only going to remind you of your innocence and correct your errors. All your errors are errors in perception. All your errors are mistakes in perception. Do you know that the Holy Spirit stands at the end of time? Love is what's waiting for you. Love is with you because God has already undone everything that's unworthy of you. You have a teacher called the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit has been given the mission, a mission by God to undo everything that you have done to make yourself think you're unworthy in any way. And there is no way that a mission that the Holy Spirit has been assigned by your Creator could not be accomplished. You will see who I am, and I will see who you are as we learn that we are innocent. You won't really ever see me as long as you think that I'm a guilty body. If you think I'm a color, and I think you're a colored body, we'll never know the innocence that Spirit is trying to teach us about. And I know you're seeking escape from the prison that you've made, but I want you to know that the way to release and freedom hasn't been denied you. Your happiness is inside you. The peace that you want is inside you. But when you find it, it will only be a matter of time. Wow! You are innocent in your truest nature and guiltless in your truest nature right now. Do you know that your brightness shines? The brightness of your purity shines untouched in the mind of God. Do you know that your innocence, your beauty, and your brightness shines untouched in God's mind? You will always be as you were created, but you got to deny this crazy world and the thoughts and beliefs of this crazy world. And you have to not judge yourself. Everything you're seeing in the world is either love or a call for love. Everything you see in the world is either love or a call for love. Your eternal innocence is in the mind of your Creator. And God, your Creator, protects you forever. My dear companions, you know we got that programming that's the opposite of what I've just said. You know we have programming that's opposite to that from the world. A programming that makes us think that we're separate from God, separate from each other, creating strife around us and in us. This is the answer. And the answer will come in other forms other than this. But for some of you, and you know who you are, you know in your gut that even though the Course in Miracles may seem confusing to you sometimes, and you may feel contraction and resistance to A Course in Miracles sometimes, but you are just like I was 40 years ago. You knew that this was it, and that you needed to keep going in this direction no matter what. I am here for you. That's why I'm a teacher of God. And this is why I was attracted to A Course in Miracles. It was my calling. I know I don't appeal to everyone, and nobody will at the level of the body in the world. And that's okay. That's okay. But if you want a teacher who sees your innocence, who reinforces your innocence, who shares with you that, of course, we make errors and mistakes, but mistakes could be corrected. If you don't want to be attacked, if you want to feel safe, that's my goal. I wanted to make myself unnecessary. And let me tell you something. You can ask some people that's been in relationships with me in the past. They definitely got to the point they found me unnecessary. They learned as much as they could from me at the time. And that's okay. That's okay, because the one thing I've learned in all the years of teaching and learning A Course in Miracles is that the Holy Spirit will send you another opportunity to love, and another opportunity to love, and another opportunity to be happy, and another opportunity for love. And that's what you deserve. So, mighty companions, I'm Earl Purdy. I appreciate you, and may the Course be with you. And I always read all your comments. Yeah.